fun day.
Don't sound so excited.
Oh, I'm really excited, especially the last story that I just caught. So, yeah, it'll be a good one when I get to it. But say hello, it's me and Dee Dee. Now
What in the
we talked
world?
a little bit. We talked a little bit before the show. Daddy has to be a little cautious in how he says a couple things. So I suggested that he tell all of you he's on a forced week long vacation thanks to Susan on his channel. But this is his second home. He's always welcome to use this one if he needs to. And then Sonny's here and breaking. Tad was supposed to pop in, and I think Pixel said he may drop by, but we shall see. We start at 4 o'clock. Try to right on and have every Sunday. So we are here. So,
Well,
well, for
we'll just say DD got a forced DD quarantine, or I mean a COVID quarantine.
Oh my.
For telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Did you do it with that hat on?
It's hard to take you seriously.
Ooh, that's the first time I've been asked by a lady, did you do it with the hat on?
Oh,
Yeah.
no!
Don't you start that on this show.
word. It is Sunday. It is the Lord's day.
Okay. It was. I didn't start.
Lord, I
It's
apologize
No
for
wonder
that.
you're
Forgive all
on a
the
forced
starving pygmies in New
vacation.
Guinea.
Sir, go ahead.
I says, as who was it? Larry the Cable Guy always used to say, "Lord, forgive me, forgive all the starving pygmies in New Guinea."
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's
Hello,
exactly
Susie
right.
Pixels.
Well, hello there.
Hello.
Trying to catch up. Okay. All right. So, yeah, Pixels is here. I think Tad's in the room too.
We got a full
I'm gonna
house.
start putting I'm supposed to put an APB out for all these folks. I'm gonna be listen. 4 minutes before we go on, I start the little go live thing, and then at the intro's 2 minutes and 40 seconds long. So I feel like I need to put out I wish I had some kind of alert that I could go out, be like, "We're going in, folks. Are you coming?" Because it's hilarious. You can ask Brandon every freaking Sunday. I'll like email this, like text this kid, or like, "Are you up? Are you coming?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be there." So I'm like, okay. Every Sunday, I have to send Daddy a text message on Twitter. "Daddy, it's Sunday. Are you coming?" He didn't even answer me. He just showed up. I'm like,
Well, yeah, and I had a number of people asking me, "You going on 5 You going on 5 I said, "Oh, all right then."
so,
So-
Twist his arm, sure.
But I'm just going to show you what I've been doing for my Sunday, right? So I'll tell everyone I'm having a weekend off, right? Just have a look at this, yeah? And I'll tell you what, Breaking Spectre would be probably quite interested. This is basically English law, which is tort law, which is the basis of common law, and not to be confused with equity law, which is another type of law as well. But the reason I'm going through all this is so that certain individuals over here who are currently being persecuted by the state, we're going to be using tort law and using it to its fullest. So there's a number of things I'm looking at in there just to let everyone know, including, and if anyone knows the person that it happened to, there is a video of it, of a police officer punching in the face a peaceful petitioner that had been already handcuffed on the floor, held by 4 or 5 officers, with another officer punching him in the face at least 6 times whilst handcuffed and being held down. And I want to know, in anybody's reasonable assessment of that, including a jury, whether they consider that to be reasonable force or a trespass against a person, namely a tort of assault.
Yeah, I would say it's assault.
So would I. And I think any reasonable person would, which is why that person needs to get in contact and we'll start the process, because it is on video of what he was doing, which is, again, Absolutely disgusting. Some of the violence I'm seeing meted out by the British state.
Well, that's what happens when you're a despotic government who is quickly realizing they're losing control. So the only thing that they have to resort to is force, which they have a monopoly on.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And they won't have the monopoly for long.
Hey,
Yeah.
I want to start with some good news because I saw this story not long before we came on, and I was like, freaking hell yes. I know it's been played, I think, by one other person. I think Breaking said he thought Thumper might have played it earlier, and he probably did. I don't care playing it again or not playing it. I'm at least gonna. Yeah, I'm going to audio up. Everybody protect your eardrums because there is a video in it and I'm going to share it. It is that good. And then there's another one I'm going to follow this one up with. Nah, I won't do the audio. I'll do it when I'm getting ready to play the video so you don't get the reverb. This, as you know, come out on yesterday. I don't know if all you saw this, but it says, watch New York business owners kick out health department, sheriffs, civil disobedience starts now.
Oh,
This is encouraging. Because this is what was that? I don't know what the okay. I don't anyway. It says it became apparent on Friday night that some business owners in Buffalo, New York, have had enough of the arbitrary coronavirus related restrictions handed down by Democratic Governor Andrew Cuomo. Gathering inside an Athletes Unleashed gym in Orchard Park, a number of business owners refused to comply with the health department official, and the Erie County Sheriff's Department entered their facility. The business owners who taped the interaction told the health department officials and the sheriffs to go get a warrant and leave their private property. And to cheers from the business owners, the authorities complied, leaving the gym and the front of the business, video shows. So they had a health department worker there. They brought 2 sheriff's employees. This is the beauty right here. This freaking cop had the audacity, after everything that we've seen from Black Lives Matter, defund the police, all this other stuff on. It says, he says, I've seen clients die. That's in the video, to have some compassion. But here it goes. It says, they say, go get a warrant. Another business owner interjects firmly. This is private property. This is private property. They're not wanted here. It says, do your jobs, he tells the sheriffs, adding, your job is to remove people who are not wanted here. He's the sheriff. The police said, you should all be wearing masks. How come you don't have masks on? One of the sheriff asked. He said, don't worry about my health, the business owner responds. My health isn't your concern. And then he says, it's a government mandate. The sheriff insists, it's the law. The business owner tells the sheriff, it's not the law. The statewide mask mandate is an executive order from Governor Cuomo and never passed through legislature. So it says, then they tell him you have to leave. I'll show that. Kind of just wanted to say that because some of it's hard to hear, but I'm playing some of this video because I got to stop and then reshare. Yeah, this is like, what'd you say, Breaking?
So go ahead and play the whole thing.
I'm going to have to pick the one, though, that I don't want to do the YouTube one. We'll just do this one. It's freaking glorious. This is what everybody needs to do, by the way.
People actually work for their money.
It's awful low. Can y'all hear that?
I've lost friends, I've lost family who've killed themselves. I've seen clients die because they've lost their livelihood.
no.
I know you are, and I'm asking for you to guys have some compassion for the people that have lost everything.
We do have compassion for people who
Okay, well, you need to go have compassion out in the parking lot.
But
this is private property.
This is
private property. This is private property.
Yes, it is.
It's private property. Go get a warrant. Listen, man, this is private property. They're not wanted here. So do your jobs.
Well, her job is...
Well, no, your job is to remove people that are not wanted here.
You have a
We're wanted here. They're not.
She's hiding her name tag.
She had
I'm not. It's right here. It's marked here. You can see my name
They're just
tag.
doing their job.
There we go.
You should all be wearing masks. How come
I'm not
none of you
doing
have
anything
masks
wrong.
on?
Don't worry about my health. My health isn't your
You're
concern.
meant to be wearing a mask. It's a government
Okay, well, then
mandate.
write me up.
It's the law.
Okay, then take me to jail.
It's not the law.
Then take me to jail.
Show me the law. Show me the law. Stop holding on to any court anywhere. Show me the law. Well, I think we got to go, John.
You have to leave. You guys have to leave. You have to leave.
Right now, you're trespassing without a warrant. You need
Mass civil disobedience starts now.
You're trespassing.
We're not trespassing.
You're trespassing.
Doesn't matter. We have a right to be here.
Then get a warrant, dude. Go get a warrant.
Bring a warrant.
Go get a warrant.
Trespassing.
Yes, you do.
Come back with the warrant or leave.
Don't write the law.
Outside. No, go on your
They've
phone
been asked to
outside.
leave several
Go on your phone
occasions.
outside.
I would really like it if you
Where
would
did
stop
you hear the
shouting at me.
report
I haven't done
Okay,
anything
people
wrong.
like it. You gotta write the law.
Leave.
Who reported it?
Leave.
Who reported it?
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah,
Because
it's anonymous, right? It's
Yes,
anonymous.
It is. But
It
it's
can't
a
be
legitimate
anonymous.
complaint.
You need to
It
know
can
your
be,
accuser. You need to
that's
know.
not-
It cannot
Okay,
be
wait,
anonymous.
you gotta go get a warrant.
It
It's not
cannot
our
be
police
anonymous.
department.
It cannot be anonymous.
You gotta go get a
It's
warrant.
You don't get to
You gotta go
write
get
the
a warrant.
policies. You
It's
don't get to
code
violate the
enforcement.
Constitution.
This
It does
isn't
not
the
matter.
same
You
as
don't
that.
circumvent or subvert the Constitution.
Okay, Meth, you need to leave.
Get out! 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 Get out!
I've
There
never
you have
Nicely
seen.
done.
I mean, that's what everybody's gonna have to do. You saw what
That's
happened.
every business owner.
I've never
Well,
seen a
at the-
professional Karen so defeated.
Well, look,
Yeah.
at the end of it, it's kind of funny. I was going to show, I don't want to show this whole other one because it's on YouTube. At the end of it, they say, this is a Black Lives Matter protest. You know what I mean? Like they would take, I'm trying to find, it's at the very end. Here, I'll show this really quickly. It's pretty good.
Why? We will not comply. We will not comply. We will not comply. We will not comply.
This is a protest, guys.
Comply.
We do not
We
have to
will not
disband.
comply.
It is a protest. This is a lawful protest. We will not comply. We will not comply. We will not comply. We will not comply.
Walk them out. They
We
need to leave.
will not comply.
To the road. To the road.
To the road, son, is what he said. But that's what everybody's got to do.
That guy kind of sounded like who's the actor that did Rocky?
Stallone?
Yeah.
Stallone.
Yes.
Am I-
That guy, his voice sounded like Sylvester Stallone's voice. But go ahead. That was a stupid.
You
comment.
know what I really liked about that, though, watching that video? Didn't it seem like at first the one sheriff was with the other sheriffs, but then when it got brought up about the warrant, it's like he and private property, then he went, yeah, you guys got to get a warrant. You got to leave. This is private property. Didn't
Well,
it
that's-
seem like he turned?
Yeah, and you're going to have that because you have some of the goons who know what the law is and what they're supposed to be bound by versus the goons who have no idea what they're doing. They're just following orders.
Exactly. They are state enforcers against constitutional police constables or officers of the law under your constitution. The sheriffs and who's the other? There's another group of people. I forget what they're called, but they can go anywhere in America.
U.S. Marshals.
U.S. Marshals, same thing. U.S. Marshals can go anywhere and literally walk in and say, stop doing what you're doing. It's unconstitutional. It's against federal law. Stop. Right?
Yeah.
Can I just say this to people? What that business owner just did is absolutely fantastic. You're absolutely right. All business owners should be doing it. We have got a current case. I'm not allowed to talk about it, but I can tell you now that Robin Tilbrook has now taken on the case for a lady that started a business at the start of this year, put her complete life savings into the business, right? The business is her. It's her skill set within that business. And she stood up and said, I do not comply. This is against my rights, my lawful right. As an individual. She didn't come up with any of this straw man stuff. What she did say was absolutely bang on the money. We have now taken it on because the local council, similar to what they just did there, has issued what's known as a prohibition notice. What we're doing now is suing the council, suing the individual that has given the prohibition notice on her business, right? And hopefully this will move forward as what's known as a tort law case, a real common law case. This is standard in England and standard in America, right? And this is where you can use it and literally say to them, this is against my constitutional rights. I have the right to do this and have freedom of association, freedom of business, freedom of everything, basically, and you're wrong. And what they just said there was, You haven't got a warrant to be here. Get out. And they left.
So to your point, Daddy Dragon, it all starts with this. You have to physically say, I do not comply or I do not consent. Because where government gets their power is through implied consent.
Exactly.
Meaning, if you do not step up and state that you do not consent, they imply that they have consent from you, the consent of the governed, just by implication, because you do not stand up and say otherwise. And until you do that, and until you take a stand, it's going to continue. And why do you think they want masks on people? So that you don't speak.
It's a method of measuring how their propaganda is working on the population. That is the only reason they want to physically see a face nappy on people or a face diaper on people, right? But let me just say what you just said.
It's the new yellow star.
Yeah. No, it is the yellow star. Yeah, these people are compliant. They're, they're the ones that'll end up being the useful idiots and on the trains to the gas chamber. Let me just say this to people, though. What Brake Inspector's just said there, and I love being on the show with Brake Inspector because he actually understands the law, right?
Oh, wow. Do you feel that, Pixels?
And let me just say this to you, right?
Dad.
Let me just say this to you. What you just said there about compliance, right? So we've got a situation in England and the UK, right, that the BBC can put you in prison for not paying, I repeat, not paying your TV propaganda license, right? There is a simple way of dealing with it, and one of the ways to deal with their enforcers is to put a notice on your home outside under the law of tort that I withdraw your right of access to my property, and that if you continue over this threshold onto my land, you are trespassing. That is common law. That is the tort of common law. And then under that tort of common law, you can then, under equity law, get an injunction against them if you need to, but you won't need to. Because as soon as they see it, they go, well, stop. What I'm doing now is unlawful. And that is exactly that is your written non-consent stuck there to say, I do not consent on withdrawing your common law right of access to my property. Get off it.
I'm going to show you another article real quick.
Before you do, I want to expound just a little bit more on that.
Okay. Well, let me give a shout out. Lynn Jones, thank you. Timothy Powell, thanks, Vernon. Donut to you, virtual donut. Okay, I had to get that out before they scroll by. And then I'm going to share another article after you're done breaking.
So, as Daddy Dragon was referring to private property, why is that important? Think back to what is in our Constitution, what is in our Declaration of Independence. You have the right to life, liberty, and what they slipped in after the fact, the pursuit of happiness. Well, guess what? The pursuit of happiness doesn't really mean much. What it used to say, and what a lot of these state constitutions continue to say, is life, liberty, and property, or land. LLL, land. So why is that important? COVID is nothing more than cover to basically bring about what they want to do via this great reset BS that's brought to us by the Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum, the Davos yin yangs and that. And they're marching down the path as if the 16-year plan and that is still ongoing, right? Well, underneath this new quote unquote system that they want to bring about, because, we're not going to return to normal. Folks, get this through your head. We are not returning back to some normal pre-COVID days. No. We're going to slide into this new system. And as some of the tenets of that, as the tenets of Agenda 21, 2030, as tenets of Marxism, you do not have property rights. You cannot do that. And so this is where the fight begins right now. Every one of us, where these authoritarian, totalitarian tactics of trying to browbeat you with masks on and all this crap about COVID to make you compliant with the state, if you do not resist now, you will forever lose your property rights. And I'm not talking just land rights, folks. I'm talking your own personal being property rights, your body, yourself, your personhood, all of that. Now is where the fight begins.
Okay, I'm going to show this one then to follow that other one up before we get off this topic, to show the difference between where Daddy's living and where we're living. Where their police force serves the queen and ours is supposed to serve the people. And this is what that looks like. The California sheriff's buck Governor Newsom's latest lockdown. We will not actively enforce it. So these are sheriffs in California saying that they're not going to use the police force to actively go out there and round people up for these mask mandates. It says several more California sheriffs have joined Orange County Sheriff in bucking Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom's latest lockdown order and refusing to actively enforce new mandates. This is what they should be doing because they took an oath here in America to serve and protect the people, not enforce unconstitutional laws on us. It says the sheriffs of Riverside, San Bernardino, and Ventura counties put out statements over social media on Thursday and Friday following a statement from Orange County Sheriff Don Barnes pushing back against Newsom's restrictions. Newsom announced a lockdown on Thursday and it went into effect on Saturday night. Mind you, people took photos of this man at some kind of house party where not one single person was wearing a face mask and they was all bunched up together, all having a great time. So, spare me your mask outrage. It has been the policy of the Sheriff's Department to encourage responsible behavior and compliance with the governor's orders, to ensure constitutional rights are not violated and to limit potential negative interactions and exposure to our deputies. We will not be responding to calls for service based solely on non-compliance with the new order or social distancing and mask guidelines. Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco said in a Thursday statement. So again, on Friday morning, Ventura County Sheriff's Bill Ayub said in a statement, in short, we will not be actively enforcing the curfew order. However, we will continue to respond to public safety concerns and provide law enforcement services where they are needed. We ask that everyone do their part and avoid situations that may contribute to the spread. I don't know, like Black Lives Matter and Antifa protests. Nobody says a damn thing about locking down the state of California with a 6 p.m. curfew and let people come out, protest, and burn buildings down. They don't have a problem with that. San Bernardino Sheriff John McMahon joined the others later on Friday in refusing to send officers to respond to violations of Newsom's lockdown order. Back in March, county departments collaborated and established an online reporting system. This is the tattletale feature that Newsom implemented. Remember, tell on your neighbor, for members of the public, including those choosing to remain anonymous, to report alleged violations of public health orders. Depending on the type and severity of the allegations, complaints are addressed by various county or city agencies. McMahon said in the statement, it is not our intent to utilize patrol personnel to respond to these allegations. Those calling to report alleged violations of public health orders will be referred to the county's Joint Information Center so the appropriate departments can be made aware and address the incidents by case by case. Again, these are the same people that hold up signs talking about defunding the police are the same people calling the police on people for not wearing a face mask. Does any of that stuff not make any sense?
Was that the police or the police? The police. Okay, I've got the police.
It's the popo, whatever you want to call it. There you go, the popo. There you go. So this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm saying this is sheriffs that are saying we're not going to do it. You saw the same thing in Virginia when they did that thing about the Second Amendment. You watch sheriffs go out there in front of that building when everybody was walking around strapped to the nines that said we are not going to enforce this on the public. This is not constitutional. We're not doing it. So what are they going to do? What are they going to do if the sheriffs don't comply? They're going to try to arrest the sheriffs? Because it's like those people said in New York City. Go New York City. They've got to be sick of it. Where they're like, you get out of our private property, leave. We didn't ask you to be here. When the sheriff said, why don't you have on a mask? And that, my health ain't none of your concern. And I mean, people are sick. I mean, it's good to see that. I'm hoping that by showing this to you guys, that's encouraging. Because that's exactly what needs to happen.
And the other thing I'll add to that, too, is just as a pleasant reminder to what our founding fathers told us. Those who trade liberty for a little security, health, COVID, will get a high degree of neither.
Yeah, this is what they'll get right here. Bread lines. village in northwest Iran, people in a long line for bread. Note, Iran has the world's second largest natural gas and fourth largest oil reserves. The money goes to dictators like Assad, terrorists like Hezbollah, ballistic missiles, and completely unnecessary nuclear program priorities. That's what's in your future, right there. Ask Venezuela. They ate their zoo animals.
Well, looping back to the sheriff thing for a second.
Sure, go ahead.
People should get a hold of their sheriffs in each of their respective counties and ask them not to enforce this lockdown crap. I mean, it's freaking horrible. Like a few days into the lockdown here in Michigan, the second one, there's a restaurant downtown, about 5 minutes from where I'm at, and they announced that they have to close. They won't be opening back up again. So it's just like, if people would get a hold of the sheriff and people would be assured that they're not going to get shut down just for trying to run their damn business.
And what they're doing, this is what's known as a scorched earth policy, right?
Yes.
They are attempting to destroy the economies of the two main common law jurisdictions in the world that protect individual rights by doing what they're doing. It's called a scorched earth policy. They're trying to destroy their economies by doing it, and the people have to stand up. You're bang on the money. Let me just say this to you, Season Pixels. I watched a fantastic video on a channel called Sons of Liberty, right? And they're out of, I think it's South or North Carolina. Let me
Bradley
tell you,
Dean.
there was a sheriff there that took the government to court. He was what's known as a constitutional sheriff.
Yes.
And he took the government to court as an individual and won on the behalf of the people. Right the way up to the Supreme Court, he won. Now, what I'm saying to you is you need to look at who you are electing. It is crucial because that constitutional sheriff was elected by the people on a constitutional mandate, and he made a difference. Let me tell you something now. We've got the same thing now in England. We've got the police and crime commissioners elections coming up that they cancelled in May of this year. The English Democrats are the only people supporting the Constitution of England. And if you vote us in, we tell the Chief Constable what his policy is, including the right to keep and bear arms. So just make sure everyone's there.
Two points to make on that real quick, Daddy Dragon. Sons of Liberty Media, I follow them. Bradley Dean is a radio guy that's been doing this for quite some time. They kick out some great articles. Just in recent days, I think it was Washington State, one of the counties up there is actually turning away from actually electing sheriffs, but appointing them. And they had a good article on that. I would encourage folks to go check that out and why it is important to elect your sheriff, who is the highest official in your respective counties, who can arrest anybody at any time, fed or otherwise. The other point I want to make is this. So you brought up the constitutional sheriffs. There is a website out there. I think it's CSPOA, CSPOA, Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. There is a listing of all the sheriffs around the country, at least here stateside, where you can check to see if your respective sheriff in your respective county is indeed a constitutional sheriff. Now, I don't know if that site is still maintained, but it is probably a good starting point for folks to check out. And yes, do call and find out in your respective counties whether or not they are indeed going to enforce a lot of this stuff, because many aren't. They recognize the tyranny at hand. It's unenforceable. They don't even have the freaking manpower to be able to go after and do this. Heck, just up in New York here, a lot of sheriffs net are saying, I don't have the time. I don't have the resources. I'm not going to go get a warrant to find out if the 10 cars in somebody's driveway on Thanksgiving Day are 20 people, 15 people, whatever, and bust into their family gatherings on Thanksgiving Day. We're not doing it. Screw that. And that's exactly the appropriate response they should have.
Agreed.
You said something there about sheriffs being appointed and not elected. Where the hell did that come from again?
There's an article out, I think, in the last 24, 48 hours. I think it was over at Sons of Liberty, county up in Washington State, where they are going to, or pursuing, not electing their sheriff, but appointing their sheriff.
Gee, I wonder why they would do that. Maybe to silence the people's voice and just to do whatever the hell they want to do as the government?
Well,
that's a crackpot freaking idea. What the how are they even allowed to discuss something like that so blatantly unconstitutional?
Because
Can I just say this? Let me just say this. Listen, Seizing Pixels, how old are you? How old are you?
Well, I'll be 25 in May.
Do me a favour. Get yourself into law college. Go and study in the federal, right? In as a federalist, and get yourself behind them courts. You be the judge. You're still young enough to do it. Trust me. And we'll move to America when you get there. Trust me.
It's
I think as a judge, I would get charged with contempt of court. Day one.
Hang on, Tad. Were you trying to get a word in?
No, I was just saying I agree with what everybody's saying here, which kind of ties into this new case coming up with these the California farmers, where they just because they think decades and decades ago these unions could come in and disrupt their farming just because they can. I find that interesting. This all ties together with local sheriffs and local authority are stepping up to the government and the federal overseas. In other words, they come in and said they don't have the authority to do that, and we're finally stepping up to it.
Well,
I
was gonna say, Daddy Dragon, it's actually simpler than that, and there's classes in that some anons in that I know are doing right now to rectify the situation that we find ourselves in. And what it'll boil down to is this: one, you need to establish your estate. Number two, you need to assemble in each of our respective states enough bodies to put together what is called a grand jury. In each of the respective states of this country, we would need a body of 25 to formulate a grand jury, not a jury of 12 or a petit jury of 6 that you commonly see on TV or in courts of equity and that thing. No, you need a body of 25 folks. And it has been argued, and I should know the case off the top of my head, I can't recall it at the moment. They tried to go against a body of 25, and even the Supreme Court ruled there is nothing that they can do against a body of 25 that would bring charges against somebody.
I agree.
This stuff is already going on in Portland. Isn't the mayor's also like the county commissioner or something?
Well, and to that end, there is nothing that says whether it be an appointed sheriff or an elected sheriff. All it takes is a committee of about 3 folks to get enough bodies together to remove a sheriff from office.
That Portland mayor will stay on as police commissioner. Yeah, there's no conflict of interest there.
Yeah,
that's already happening in Portland. That's why they were rounding up some of these people and letting them go. Is because you have the mayor as also the police commissioner. So all this power is going to these people's heads. Is what I mean. So it's already happening in these grandfathered in laws that have never been changed, where this man has way too much power and control. And then you wonder why Portland is a complete freaking mess.
Exactly.
So there you go. All right, that's all I wanted. My point. I thought he was the mayor and the police commissioner because I'd heard that. I think like last year when all this Antifa stuff was going on with CHOP, and then I'll wait till we get to the voter thing, but I have an interesting story on that as well. Got a couple things.
Well, do we want to jump into the whole debacle known as our election and the fallout?
Can we do just a little bit on? Have you guys heard about New Mexico and the shutting down essential businesses?
No, do tell.
Okay, there's an article about New Mexico shutting down grocery stores because of the COVID, and it's causing people to go out of town.
So wait a minute. Strip clubs are essential.
Let me find the article.
Yeah.
I'll find the article. Maybe we can come back to it.
Yeah, find the article if you can. Find the sauce on it if you have some.
Well, you make a good point there, Breaking Spectre, and I think this is something that a lot of people have noticed throughout this entire year of hell. They seem to target some businesses and some services like church and whatnot, but then other things are completely fine for them. And you know one of the things about that really angers me. It seems that they're targeting small businesses, but they couldn't give a crap about a place like Walmart or Meijer being open and having hundreds upon hundreds of people in there buying groceries like nothing is going on. But a little mom and pop store down the road, that's not an essential business. It has to be closed down.
Well, think of who is on the take, right? As all this election stuff is unfolded, we're seeing just how deep the swamp runs. It's not just confined to just the 10-mile radius of D.C., folks. It's in each of your state houses. It's in each of your county commissions and everything else. They're all connected. They're all taking bribes, kickbacks, and everything else. It's all connected, and we're seeing the same damn thing play out with the COVID business. If you're not part of the good old boy system where you've donated dollars as a business to I don't care if it's Pritzker. I don't care if it's Whitmer. I don't care if it's Wolf over in Pennsylvania. Guess what? You're not going to get to stay open. But the Walmarts, the big box stores, the Home Depots, the Lowe's, you name it. Well, of course, they get campaign contributions over to their candidates. So guess who gets to stay open?
Yep. And guess who gets all of the business now because there's nowhere else to go?
Yep. How do you destroy a resilient economy? You destroy the economy by removing all the pops and mums and pop shops, etc., and it moves over to corporations. That's exactly fascism.
It is. It absolutely is. And there is a way around it, folks. Do not be discouraged by what you see. Because if they attempt to try and roll this great reset out and try and force everybody onto some digital currency and do away with dollars, guess what? We have the right to come up with our own currency and do our own business. And guess what? It's going to be underground. They're not going to see it. It's not going to be tracked. And that's just fine by me.
It is the right of the people to alter or abolish it.
Bingo.
Yeah, I will. Before we go on to, I want to show this one. I mean, just because it's who it is, I'm going to show y'all this what I found today. But Al Sharpton paid his family more than $80,000 through his National Action Network. His organization spent lavishly on travel. This is the guy still wanted for tax evasion. That's preaching to everybody about masks and socialism. Just wanted to kind of hit that real quick. So he's still a crook. There you go. Just had to say that. Wanted to insert that in there. And Sonny, if you go on, if Sunny, I think, had her stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll grab the share quick and pull this article up.
Yeah.
So it's from COVID-19 New Mexico news updates. State shuts down nearly 24 essential businesses, including grocery stores and major retailers due to COVID cases. The other one, that article I grabbed, basically says the same thing. So maybe it's a repeat, but it does talk about it shut down 20 essential businesses across the state have been shut down. 3 have since been allowed to reopen. Nearly half of the closures are grocery stores or major retailers. This includes 2 Walmarts and a Target, Albertsons.
Why would they shut down grocery stores?
Well, look at the locations, too. They're saying Santa Fe and Albuquerque. What do you bet that those are probably some blue strongholds?
Exactly. Mom and pops are getting shut down, not Walmart.
And this is the 21st, so it's real recent.
Didn't that article just say it was Walmart's too?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says what? This
like
includes
everything.
2 Walmarts, 1 Santa Fe, a Target, an Albertsons.
Oops.
That's crazy. Closure temporarily inconvenient some. May cause absolute essential. We take these actions. So people gotta eat.
Well,
Right.
think about they can shut. Well, I think Brecken says the location of those. So, well, who can In other words, they can shut down a location in a small little town, and they don't have an issue with the finances coming in because they have so much money. So the bottom line is it crushes that local economy.
Yeah, I think I was making a point that it was Walmart's though. It wasn't just like mom and pops. They shut down a couple of Walmarts.
Caffeine addict, you're absolutely right. Using food as a weapon. If you think of how they have tried to implement communism over the years in a lot of these countries, it's the exact same playbook over and over and over again. They resort to the very same tactics to try and drive obedience to the population. You starve the population, they'll accept just about anything so long as they get food in their bellies, right? And I mean, this is even from a biblical sense. Dear God, go back to the story of Jacob and Esau, right? And his birthright. What the hell happened there? Esau gave up his birthright for what?
Right.
A bowl of frickin' beans, because he was starving coming out of the field.
Pushing those people to go into other towns for their food. And lines, like they're going to have to wait in lines for these stores that actually opened. It's just craziness. But got to keep an eye on that, see if it spreads.
Yeah. Drive self-sufficiency at the end of the day. You want to do something? Start your own indoor garden. Go watch some YouTube videos on all the different methods out there on how to actually grow stuff outside of actually having soil. Growing stuff in your windows and in your own kitchen, things of that
Here's the thing,
nature.
though. Aren't there some areas that have been insane enough to outlaw growing your own food?
Oh, they can try.
Yeah, grow, man. That's what you want to do.
Well, on the larger scale, like just bringing up what Tad wrote about the farmers and Monsanto, because they're using genetically modified seeds, that made it illegal for farmers to actually collect the seeds from that year's crop and then replant them. They forced them to buy brand new seeds, which you want to talk about tyranny. You can't reuse your seeds that you paid for the year before. They force you to buy new ones.
Yeah, but there's
and then what?
There's
Then I was going to say what China was doing was they would go in and say it was soybean because we buy a lot of soy here. They would go in and bid on all the soybean when it was at top market value, and then they would cancel their order to turn around and come back in a few days later and buy it at rock bottom prices because the farmer was stuck with all this soy they thought they'd sold, and that's how they were screwing over the farmers.
Yeah, and for those who have not grown, you can get non-GMO seeds. You can go find numbers of places online if you catch it before all, transportation and logistics stops here in this country. Try and find heirloom organic seeds in that. Those are ones that have been, over hundreds of years grown and seed saved, grown, seed saved. About as pure seeds as you can possibly get.
And
don't be shy of the price either, because I mean that it's going to cost a little bit, and it should be because they want the cheap stuff. They want to feed us, so don't be shy of. Because remember now, you can buy these seeds and you can grow them over and over again.
Yeah, you do have to save some of your seeds and let some of it actually go to seed rather than just, reap the spoils and harvest of whatever it is you're growing. You do have to let some of it actually go to seed.
Mm-hmm. That's the place I buy mine.
Yeah, that's a class in itself, teaching people how to let things grow to, go to seed and not before they pick them.
Yep.
Can I just briefly say, for everyone out in the chat there and everyone that's not in the chat that's watching this, would you please share? Change. If you keep sharing it, when you share to the different platforms, just change the wording slightly and allow it to go out. Then more people who missed it when you last shared it will see it again, just to bring more sanity to people out there. That's it.
Yeah. And two things I want to mention here. I'm looking at the DLive chat here on my cell phone, and it says that Susan E just received a 1-month subscription from Sue G. That's super cool. I love that feature over on DLive. So, hey, thank you, Sue G, for gifting that subscription, and congratulations to Suzanne E. Also, Tori Gem out there just reminded me, Governor Whitmer of Michigan made buying seeds non-essential during the shutdown last spring. I remember this. My stepdad and I had gone to, I think it was Tractor Supply, and they actually had the section where you could buy seeds for freaking for like gardening and, like cucumbers and so on and so forth. They had it taped off with like caution tape. They wouldn't even let you
Yeah.
buy seeds.
I think they tried that in the UK too. Daddy Dragon, I don't know if you know the story or not, but maybe a few weeks ago, they were trying to do some similar crap, and they actually roped off or covered aisles of clothing for kids and said that was non-essential. And a dude went in, pulled the coverings net off, says, F that. This is essential. You don't get to tell me what I can and cannot buy. And he went about his business and bought it anyway.
And was that in England or was that in America?
It was in, I want to say Leicester maybe, or somewhere around that part. Maybe it was in Ireland. I don't remember.
Well, there was a guy that, he did do that, but he walked in to a store. I must say he had better physique than I did. And he walked into the store with his boxers, and they tried to stop him. And he said, well, you're saying that clothing isn't an essential item, so I must be out of shop for my groceries in my boxers, right? And it completely made the point to everyone. It went viral, the video, and it just shows what nonsense this is.
Yeah, Chad is saying it was in Wales. I stand corrected, but I remember the story.
Tori Jim said that the seed aisles were literally taped off in the corporate stores. Like, she was just agreeing with Pixels, I believe. She tagged us, and then that Ian said Wales for sure. But yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Well, I mean, it kind of does. They're trying to get the corner market on seeds. They don't want you replanting them. I mean, how can you tell a farmer that puts out his seeds for the year, pulls in his harvest, that it's illegal for him to replant any seeds from that? What is this? This isn't China yet, but I swear the stories I hear sound more and more like it every day.
So Blue 813, you guys are sounding defeated. I think Trump is going to win. Should we switch over to some of the election related stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
All right, I am going.
And for the record,
pull us
I think
out of
Trump's
this
going
hole.
to win too.
Oh.
All right, let me bring up one. I've got so many folks. It's tough to really settle on any one because so much information is coming at us at once. Citizen Free Press had this today. It says MSNBC reports how easy it is to hack Dominion ES&S machines. Now, keep in mind, the Mockingbird media, all the various officials around the country, all the judges, all the court cases not being thrown out, says there is not one scintilla of evidence that any fraud has occurred with this election, right? Well, unfortunately, we got folks who go back and dig on old tweets and things of that nature, and lo and behold, MSNBC in 2019 reporting how easy it is to hack Dominion ES&S voting machines. Let's take a listen.
Already in use. Jacob, tell me who these hackers are and what they're finding.
This is a very paranoid scene here, Ali. We're among some of the greatest hacking minds in the country, people who've been brought together by, above-board companies to try to be as creative as they can and as insidious as they can in attacking systems like you see behind me. These are some of the most common systems used as of 2018 in elections.
So obviously they're talking about a hacking conference here, just how easy it is. And of course, we have seen a lot of stories over the last couple of weeks of what has been going on with digital certificates and keys and things of that nature. You've probably seen Code Monkey talk about that with Chanel Ryan over at OANN. So we'll let this play through a minute.
Elections, and so they're here to really test this stuff out.
All righty. Ability that they discovered.
Well, one of the big vulnerabilities we're definitely seeing here is just the incredible, the dated nature of this technology. It is extremely old. A lot of it dates from the 90s. And what's one of the most alarming things to me is that a lot of the equipment
All right, so obviously talking, yes, that these machines are dated, a lot of vulnerabilities, and perhaps part of the reason why they stay that way is because they want it that way.
see behind me, in fact, all of the equipment you see behind me was not, in fact, provided by the companies. Companies like ES&S and Dominion, which are the top manufacturers of voting equipment, they had to buy this stuff on eBay and through government surpluses. That's what the organizers told me here. And so the idea that we have to sort of pull this stuff in order to test it out without the cooperation of the companies involved is really quite alarming. But considering the kind of sophistication I've seen, we have all of our phones off,
So yeah, they're going to talk about all their phones not being off, but keep in mind what we've found out thus far. All these machines are not supposed to be internet connected. However, as we find out, especially as we saw in Detroit and in a lot of these places, they were indeed connected to the internet.
Even the wait staff here in Las Vegas has been told not to have their phones on while this conference is going on. The idea that they're going to then go at this kind of data equipment is pretty alarming.
Jake, cybersecurity companies that are involved in this banking, they spend billions of dollars on cybersecurity. Are the kinds of resources necessary to protect voting systems available to election officials in this country?
And that's probably a good place we can break from it there. I think you get the idea. There's a lot of vulnerabilities net built into this. Part of the reason that we saw the confiscation of the servers and stuff in Germany, which did happen, folks, is because of that very reason. There's a lot of touch points in that in between. All of our tabulation of votes does not even occur within the confines of the borders of these United States. It has all been outsourced.
Well, let me show you this one. Look at who it's from. BuzzFeed. Look at the year 2018. 11-year-old changed the results of Florida's presidential vote at a hacker convention. Veteran hackers have tried for years to get the world to notice flaws in voting machines. Now they've got it. They have to wrestle with the scaring people away from voting. This is where they set it up at a DEF CON gathering and in a room set aside for kid hackers. An 11-year-old girl hacked a replica of the Florida Secretary of State website within 10 minutes and changed the results. 10 minutes, 11-year-old. Again, so for all the lefties, it's a fact from BuzzFeed, folks.
Yeah, I got another
Sorry.
one here. Great game, India. Go ahead.
Yeah.
We can land a man on the moon and bring him back to Earth, but we can't have a freaking election system that's secure. Give me a break. Like, does anybody see how absolutely ridiculous? You're telling me an 11-year-old can compromise our voting system in America? It's unthinkable.
Hey,
the article's actually a little worse. It says they hacked all 5 voting pieces of equipment that they're utilized. They got replicas or they decommissioned, and they were all hacked, all 5 of them. I mean, simply.
I don't want to be a broken record, but we can't simply tell them. We have to show them. So,
well, and to that end, people sit and watch these thinking reality shows. America's Got Talent or whatever. Everybody votes in a commercial break, and all of a sudden they got the tally of millions of votes in however long a commercial break is, but we can't have it, on the same night of the actual election. Ridiculous.
That's a great point.
And I agree, that is a great point. Can I just show this mini clip of a video that I've got on Twitter?
Yeah, I'll bring this back up here in a minute.
It's on point for you and what you're pointing out at the moment. But I just think I've sent this out on Twitter, and I know that I'm being. Oh, let me just go back again. Sorry. Let's share me sound, otherwise it won't work. I'm being shadow banned on Twitter, obviously. But what I'm going to do now is just show you this, right? Hopefully you're seeing it. What you should be seeing on your screen now is Lord Malik Brown, Smartmatic and Dominion cut off your hands by stealth, right?
Can you quick just explain who Lord Malik Brown is and his relation to somebody like Soros, for example?
So Lord Malik Brown is one of the puppet masters. He is the person who is closely associated with George Soros and a number of NGOs and organisations. He was also, and he is now in the House of Lords, but he's also in England, the British Parliament, not the English Parliament. And he has got a number of connections to Smartmatic, Dominion, and the voting systems. And again, he's British. But what I want to do is just show you this briefly and just listen to the words. I know some people don't like him, But Trey, the reason for the comment I've made there should be fairly obvious, right? The Lord Malik Brown, Smartmatic and Dominion cut off your hands by stealth, right? Now just listen to this.
Kid in law school, because that's just what the world needs, is another lawyer. And I have a kid that is in college. But I was thinking over lunch of when my own kids were that age, and my son invited me to an auditorium, not unlike this one, to hear a speaker at his high school, Spartanburg High School. And that speaker was an author from Sierra Leone, which is a country in Africa. She was she had long jet black hair and deep, rich, mahogany-colored skin. She was a beautiful young lady in her 20s, and she was speaking about life in Sierra Leone. And she did something I have never seen before, nor have I ever seen it since. She raised her arm to brush the hair out of her face, and she had no hands. Her hands had been cut off in the Sierra Leone Civil War. Soldiers had come to her village, and she tried to run, but she couldn't run fast enough. She tried to hide, but they found her. She called out for God to save her. The soldiers got her, and they cut off her hand so she would never be able to fill out a ballot, never be able to write a name on a ballot. And to hear this author tell her story, just before she was overcome with the shock of losing your hands to a sword, she heard the soldiers laughing and telling her to go ask the president of Sierra Leone for a new pair of hands. And this little 12-year-old girl asked herself, what's a president? I have a...
Now, for me, that is a powerful recollection of how important voting is. And that is why I state in there, in that tweet, that Lord Malik Brown, Smartmatic and Dominion have cut off your hands by stealth.
Got a hell of a name, too.
Yeah.
Damn good point, Daddy.
All right. Yeah. And so that's exactly where this leads, because I'm sure many of you have probably listened to the Giuliani, Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis pressers net in recent days, and what they have spoken of and what these Dominion/Smartmatic systems are capable of and why they were designed, right? Hugo Chavez in Venezuela wanted to maintain control, wanted to maintain power at all costs. Just only give the illusion of an election, an illusion of choice, which is exactly what we see playing out here today in the two-party system, where it's just a uniparty with the illusion of choice. And so to carry on that theme, in order to maintain power and give the illusion of a choice in an election, you know, as if you have a voice, right? No, they had to come up with a mechanism to make that all happen so that he would retain power. And of course, this has all been captured, documented by multiple sources. Great Game India had this, says witness affidavit out. Smartmatic voting machines were designed to steal U.S. elections. This isn't a glitch that the media has purported it was, that took place on election night, you know, where the counting of votes actually stopped in several of the states. I tend to agree with what Sydney has stated from many of the articles that I've read, that the tsunami was so damn large across this country, they had to stop. And it literally broke the freaking algorithms that they had put in to try and steal the vote. And they says, oh shit, what are we going to do here in many of these states? And that's why we saw the 3, 4 a.m. drops to hurry up and try and CYA and shovel all this stuff in as fast as possible. Unfortunately, statistically impossible for these things to happen the way they did, and a lot of these outlets are capturing that. So according to the witness affidavit of a high-ranking military officer, the Smartmatic voting machines were specifically designed in a way that the system could change the vote of each voter without being detected in order to steal U.S. elections. Now, I would counter that and say it's not just happening here in the U.S., folks. Again, talking as Sidney Powell has here in recent days, Venezuela was one of the purveyors of said system for somebody like Hugo Chavez to remain in power. And then I want you to think about all of the various topplings of governments worldwide. Who are the culprits behind that? Our lovely clowns in America, right? And so how do they do the same thing? And so that they can maintain control and have puppets that they can control in these respective countries so that they can exploit their resources and everything else. The explosive witness affidavit of the high-ranking military officer in possession of former federal prosecutor Sidney Powell is part of the evidence her legal team is gathering against foreign interference in 2020 U.S. elections. She read out the part of the affidavit on the Fox News interview with Lou Dobbs. Below is a transcript from the said interview. I'm not going to go through and read the whole thing. I'll go ahead and drop the link to the article, but here's the point I want to make. Every single one of these outlets, including Tucker Carlson, should know better. They should know better. This is not Law and Order, 60 Minutes, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. The case is done, through, and happy ending at the end of 60 minutes. No, this is not how our legal system works. Evidence. What constitutes evidence at the end of the day? We have video proof. We have affidavits, sworn affidavits that under penalty of perjury, people fill out as a truthful statement that is admissible in court. And so when you get yin-yangs like Tucker Carlson and some of these other outlets say, where's your evidence? Where's your evidence? Well, we're not playing this out, folks, in a court of freaking public opinion. This has to be done through the court system. As corrupt as it may be, it will eventually find its way up to the Supreme Court and all will be made right, because we can't even trust our Department of Justice and our current court system, regardless of the fact that we put over 300 justices on benches around this country. This is the way it's going to have to be done.
I'm going to share two things to back you up on this one topic, and then y'all can discuss it. I'll be done with it. This is from the Epoch Times. Same thing he was saying. A Dominion spokesperson finally came out today, or it says on Fox News on Sunday, that the firm didn't participate in a scheme to overturn the election. Okay, because they're going to come out and say that they did. You know, that's just what people do. Oh, yeah, we did it. They're never going to say that. They say that there's no way to switch votes. There was no way such a massive fraud could have been taken, he said, and there's no connection between our company and Venezuela, Germany, and Barcelona or elsewhere. Steele, I find that last name funny, said that the electronic vote can be audited via a paper trail. If you look at the bottom, it says Dominion and Smartmatic have denied ties to each other as well as ties to Venezuela government, although Smartmatic was created in Venezuela years ago. We shared this last night. We had a discussion. Breaking was there. He shared this with us. If there's nothing to hide, then why are you scurrying like a bunch of cockroaches? These are all the people that were in LinkedIn from the Dominion. If you can even see, if we blow it up, Dominion voting system, they were all scurrying like cockroaches trying to delete and remove all their pages and any trace of them. And there's a ton of them. So yeah, if you didn't do anything wrong while you're running, there you go. Just thought that was important to share that graphic of all the employees that are like, Dominion who? I work at Domino's.
We covered this a little bit last night. We haven't aired it yet, so that's forthcoming. But I think it bears repeating. Something that I shared on the show last night. No sound of this, but here's what's going on behind the scenes, folks. As the Mockingbird media continues to gaslight and lie to us, there are some decent outlets out there doing reporting on what is going on in a lot of these swing states, what is going on with these Dominion systems, etc. So I'm going to let this play through and narrate through this. Since Election Day, myself, I did a show on the Tiger Network the other night highlighting this. A lot of good outlets out there. Big League Politics, Law and Crime, Right Scoop, Centipede Nation have all been ones doing a lot of good reporting here as of late. 30, 40, 50 articles over the last couple weeks. Daily Caller, The Blaze, Signs of the Times, the Washington Times, also kind of in that category. Look at SGT Report. Sean has done a good job with his crew over there as a pass-through. Pamela Geller with Geller Reports also doing a pretty good job. Breitbart, the Red State, Natural News also doing a fairly decent job of coverage over a lot of the states. Citizen Free Press, Washington Examiner, another couple good sites you can follow along. And of course, Epoch Times. Definitely been one of the top outlets in that with coverage. And then, of course, last but not least, Gateway Pundit has also been one kind of spearheading a lot of the campaign for the news across the Michigans, the Wisconsins, North Carolinas, Pennsylvanias, Arizonas, Georgias, etc. The 7 states in that at the end of election night were still kind of left hanging in the balance. So remember these 17. Go out to their respective sites. This is no way an endorsement of these sites. We're not affiliated with them in any way. Just a casual observation. I would encourage you guys to do your own research and follow along there.
Yeah, exactly. There's some good people doing some good stuff for sure. For sure. Thanks, Vernon. Again, big thanks to the chat. You make our show great. Oh, thanks, Vernon. Our the mod out there. We got one of your mods up in here right now, Tad. So thanks, Vernon, for sitting out there and always supporting us. Appreciate it. But yeah, like Breaking said, we discussed a few things last night. There was this. I found this case tracker. I'll drop that out in chat too. It kind of shows the cases that are going on. Remember that there were a ton of cases filed before this election even took place. This one's dated July the 10th. So, but this is a little handy tool to kind of follow along if you need it. It can get convoluted and complicated because Sidney Powell hasn't even filed her cases. She said yesterday she hoped to by Wednesday, no later than Friday. And I just don't see that woman as an attorney going out on mainstream media and saying that the corruption is mind blowing. This is going to be, and this is her term, she said, biblical. If she didn't have the evidence to back it up. I mean, she's an attorney. So I don't think she's not Adam Schiff. They go, I've got evidence. Russia, and then never shows it. So
have you all thought about that? Like how interesting it is that Code Monkey Ron is doing some of this investigating or IT work. Sydney has come into the picture and is talking about things being biblical, and General Flynn continues to do shout outs, and just the different characters that are in the scenes now.
Well, what I found very interesting is that wasn't it just before the election that that Code Monkey resigned as administrator for 8kun? So it kind of seems like he knew this was coming and he needed to shift gears.
On the 4th.
And Lynn Wood, there was some video, I'll be careful what I say, but Lynn Wood did something on the dark aspects of being a politician. That's people are going to find it hard to believe, and it's all going to come out or something.
I heard if anybody can find that link, because I heard some things that Lynn Wood was saying, and it was kind of everything that we've been hoping to come out, and he was talking about how that's going to be coming here soon. But I want to circle over to the courts. I saw something 2 days ago, or no, I think I saw this yesterday, but it went into effect 2 days ago. The circuit courts, circuit assignments have been updated. And for those of you who haven't seen this yet, this is going to make you feel really good. So check this out. Here I am on the supremecourt.gov website. And if you go down here, remember the states that we're battling in right now are Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, I think Virginia, right?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. So, okay, well, North Carolina's got John Roberts, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at Michigan, Brett Kavanaugh, okay? Wisconsin, Amy Coney Barrett. Pennsylvania, Alito. Virginia, is, oh, I guess Virginia is Roberts. North
Head down to
Carolina.
Georgia.
And Georgia, Clarence Thomas.
And then don't forget Arizona, Nevada.
Arizona is Elena Kagan.
Yeah.
A name that I haven't heard a ton about.
People were saying somehow the Supreme Court justices' names spelled Kraken, but I don't know if that's.
I hadn't heard that.
I wasn't quite following. I'll have to look into that more.
Yeah, that sounds kind of like a wishy-washy thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Was he smoking Kraken?
Only occasionally.
Yeah.
He's an
Casual
occasional-
cocaine users.
There
An
you go.
occasional user is acceptable. No, listen.
So, well, Graham, so is
I was going to say, if you
Hunter
don't know the
Biden-
inside joke, well, hang on. If you don't know the inside joke, we give Daddy Dragon a little bit of grief. He said it one time, a long time ago on air. And if you give me a Pixels razzing him, that's why. He's only he was only an occasional cocaine user. So sorry, Pixels, go ahead.
Would you consider Hunter Biden a casual cocaine user, or did he cross the line into?
I think he's considered habitual.
Yeah, I would consider that as well. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. It was a joke. But can I just say this to you, because you've all just brought up something very... Now, sunny days, you've just mentioned certain key words that are coming out, right? I've told everyone there's one particular tweet that we're looking for, and that is, my fellow Americans, the storm is upon us. And that's when we know it's a go and everything's going into it, right? But there are certain things coming out now, certain words and structures of phrases that are coming out. You just hit the nail on the head with Sidney Powell saying this is going to be biblical, right? I'm going to bring another one up that people don't. And again, I've said this 2 years ago, and I spoke about it on the Patriot Soapbox with a number of people, and people went with another idea that it meant an avalanche. But I'm going to show you something on the screen now, and you may or may not be quite shocked by this. The United Kingdom, the British, are the founding members of something called Digital Nations, and they are leading digital governments. And what they are called, and was originally referred to as, D5, just to let you know. And it's on the screen there. And as you can see, there is D5, Digital 5, D5. Now, for me, the Digital Nations Charter, they've got a charter and they're telling everyone exactly what they're doing. This is all part of what they're doing. And you can see as you go through this and look at the different people, working groups, artificial intelligence, data 360, greening government, digital identity, lots of different things on there. And there it is. The D5, December 2014, D5 was formed, and it was Estonia, Israel, New Zealand, Republic of Korea, and the United Kingdom, just to let you know, right? So if you think D5 is relevant, that could be what we're looking at and we're being warned of. And there was originally, do you remember, and I'm still a massive, massive proponent to this, is a digital Bill of Rights, not touching our current Bill of Rights. I think that's fantastic, but we need a digital Bill of Rights 2020, not a Magna Carta 2020. Again, that's all fine. What we need is a digital Bill of Rights. And that digital Bill of Rights, your retina, your speech pattern, your DNA, your fingerprints, your gait, and your gait is the way you walk, your facial print is your copyright. It belongs to you. Facebook can't use it, Twitter can't use it, and the government can't use it. That is why you need a digital Bill of Rights, to stop what is going on now with these people and what's going on with China coming over to here. And all I'm doing is letting people know that D5 exists in another phrase, if you like, or potential. So there it is, and everyone can see that. I've got no problems with sharing that. It's on the government website, and I'll do that now. So D5, remember what our favourite Anon was talking about, D5. There it is.
Yeah. Breather Breaking or Sunny with Markle and on in D Live, what he just posted in the bottom thing about even bringing up the D5. If you guys want to, because Sunny's the first one that said something about it. We posted it in Zoom chat.
Okay, Markle Anand brought up K for Kavanaugh, R for Roberts. Wait, for K for Kavanaugh for Michigan, Roberts for Virginia, Alito for Pennsylvania, Kavanaugh for Minnesota, and Elena for Arizona, and Neil for Colorado. I'm sorry, go ahead, Breaking.
Yeah,
okay, so it's for the last names, not the first names. Somebody out there in chat said it was for the first names.
Kraken.
And I was like, it doesn't really make sense, but the last names, that does work.
But Kraken was also a software, wasn't it, or something? Some kind of a software system.
I don't know. I think people have tried to dig into it a little bit more than it's worth, because release the Kraken is it's a common saying. So I don't know. I'm just careful about it.
Just heard, I kind of heard that it's a software program that looks for abnormality. Help me with that. I'm a country boy. Abnormalities. Yeah.
Well, he also put it in there about the Dominion voting equals D5 because V Roman numeral for 5 is V. So Dominion vote, I don't know. Listen, we've followed decoding for a long time and trying to decipher things out of certain posts. So I will watch anything because I study symbology as well. So numbers and symbols and.
The unfortunate thing about decoding is that many times it can be fruitless and a waste of time. That's why I kind of stay away from it. But I can see why people like it.
Oh yeah, well that's how we got our start, was sitting in hours combing over posts, trying to figure out what two capital letters meant together. You know what I mean? So that's how a lot of us started, and we just used to that kind of the comms coming out that way, even though that person that we can't mention. Freaking communist Karens, but freaking ass.
Looking at you, Susan.
Scarlet letter.
Gaily Bug says multiple meanings
Leave
also.
Patty alone. Sorry, go ahead.
I said Gaily Bug also says multiple meanings also. So yes, D5 can have multiple meanings. We've obviously seen Durham potentially has multiple meanings if you go the route that Sidney Powell was born in Durham, et cetera, et cetera. So you gotta think of many different ways to think of things, all sorts of mental gymnastics you can come up with in order to get to what the message is at a given time.
And Pixels, just quickly, will you drop your Twitter link in D-Live real fast? Somebody's asking for it, please.
I still just just can't fathom that these players are, so much has happened in this last weekend that these players have changed in the movie, kind of the movie scene, if you will, and script have changed a little bit. It's interesting.
Well, I'll bring this up real quick, too, just as a pleasant reminder for folks as to the timeline and that we're on. Obviously, this now being the 22nd day of November, we are now 19 days past Election Day from the 3rd. December 8th is considered the Safe Harbor Day. Electoral College voters are selected, and that is done by each of the respective state legislators. Keep in mind that a lot of the secretaries of state, the governors in some of these states, and that you're seeing flap their gums, raising stinks and everything else. Well, they may be blue governors, but a lot of their legislators are actually to the good. So it could play a factor. And then December 14th is when the Electoral College voters actually cast their votes. So then we got to wait clear until the new Congress is seated in January 6th, where the Electoral College votes are counted and declared a winner. And if we still run into issues there, if all of the court cases and whatnot aren't sorted out by then, whatever challenges, certifications, etc., it may boil down to, I think I've heard people reference Article 12 of the Constitution or what have you, stating that basically the House of Representatives, each state gets one vote in that regard, and it could actually boil down to Congress picking the winner at the end of the day, which would certainly be favorable to DJT. And then, of course, obviously, we get all the way to Inauguration Day, January 20th. So a lot of things can happen between now and then. Obviously, we'll sit and watch the wranglings net and court cases and probably appeals and everything else until ultimately it'll probably make its way to the Supreme Court. Keep in mind, Gore versus Bush 2000 took 37 days from Election Day until it was sorted out. And don't forget that.
I thought something you were done. Keep going.
I was going to say, don't forget that Gore that whole time was considered president-elect, only to have it yanked out from under him. So there is no office of president-elect for old Biden. And no, the media does not declare the winner or at Jack. So there you go.
Actually,
Zen
really
just
sad
posted
to
in.
watch.
Hang on one second. Zen just posted in chat. Don't forget about the Kraken supercomputer. So I just wanted to say that. Go ahead.
Okay, well, can I just also comment on what Breaking's just said there?
Yeah, let Pixels. I've cut Pixels off, so let Pixels say something.
Pixels good, son.
Well, I just wanted to pull this up real quick because we were on references to he who should not be named. Well, here you go. Here's a direct reference from the big man himself, in all caps. So you think Patriots aren't in control still? I'm confident.
Oh yeah.
Wow,
There you
that's
go.
good.
That's it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, he's never been
Carry on.
wrong. If you think about it, when he talked about the wiretapping, people mocked him. Go, Daddy, go. Go, Daddy, go.
Go, Daddy, go, Daddy, go.
Hang on, I've got to hit me unmute button. All I was going to say is that I was absolutely infuriated, and I think that's why they did it. That Twitter says it's going to hand over the POTUS account on Twitter.
Oh
The one that Trump doesn't even use.
To Biden. How disgusting is that?
Yeah.
But it's
On the
not
20th
shocking.
of January, they're
Oh, and they
handing
said
it
for
over to
FLOTUS
Biden.
too. Like FLOTUS's account and stuff too.
Yeah, disgusting.
Good point.
They have personal accounts. It seems like they use those ones more. So, but yeah, no, that's just part of the gaslighting, right? If you look everywhere you look on social media, everything that's posted by or done, every action that's done, or every post that's made by like an old guard media source, there's these micro suggestions everywhere that Joe Biden is becoming president, right? And that's just to make people believe it. But here's the thing. I have people, within my family who are, conservative, but they're kind of normies. They don't quite get the full picture. And they're really worried by this. It's actually working on them. They think that Joe Biden's going to be president. But what they don't realize is as much as the media and social media, it doesn't matter how much they create a false reality, because that reality is still false. The Joe Biden being president-elect, right, is only real in the realm of public opinion. It's not real in the eyes of the law. It's not real in the eyes of the Constitution. It's not real in the eyes of our actual system. So to me, I don't really care if everybody thinks that Joe Biden's going to be president, because I still know it's not going to happen. Reality is reality. Reality is reality, right? A false reality that's being shoved down our throats everywhere we look. It's still a false reality. It's still not true. So keep that in mind. We're just going through a very painful and annoying. It's all this really is. It's annoying. It's just a painful, annoying episode of us who know what's going on, having to watch our fellow Americans, our fellow patriots, get inundated with false information and gaslit. But at the end of the day, it's not going to have a real world effect other than in the realm of public opinion.
I have to laugh because just yesterday there was an article that came out via the Burning Platform blog. It says, "Do Trump supporters live in an alternate universe?" And I don't have time to cover it here today, but I do want to cover that in detail on the next show I do. It is an interesting read. It doesn't end the way you think it does, folks. So, we know and have been informed for quite a long time. As Pixels alluded to, yes, the gaslighting is intense, and people have no idea that they are being gaslit, including people who profess to be conservatives, who typically watch Fox News, who they think has been conservative until, they were shown otherwise election day forward with all the BS and shenanigans going on. And so it's our job, as we have seen things play out over the last 3-4 years now, to be the light bearers, to be that sense of calm to these folks who are otherwise uninformed, not paying attention. Doesn't matter if it's COVID, doesn't matter if it's the election, doesn't matter if this quote unquote great reset and all the BS behind the scenes. We can be that light bearer, if you will, in the darkness at this point in time.
Except there's this weird, and let me just make this comment real quick.
Yeah, go.
There's this weird effect going on right now with normie conservatives where they don't even want to hear good news. They don't want to have their hopes brought up or whatever. And I can understand that, but it's like, at least be open-minded. I mean, how long these people know that the media is full of crap? Why can't they just take the extra step and say, hey, they're lying about the election because they've lied about everything else? Why wouldn't they lie about the election?
This screams to me fear. They are afraid. And this is your attorney general threatening to criminally charge someone for doing the whole hashtag Detroit leaks, I believe it was, where they got them, that video exposed the voter fraud training in Detroit, Michigan before the November 3rd election. Why in the world? Do you remember what happened to the guy that filmed the undercover videos of Planned Parenthood about when they were selling the fetal body parts, and they tried to say they were faked, deep fakes. They were all looked over. They were not fakes. But what did they try to do to the people? The man that filmed them, they prosecuted the guy. Now look what she's doing.
This is coming from the same people who at every time President Trump calls a media organization fake news, they scream about freedom of the press.
Exactly. And this is what I mean by, to me, this is just shows that they're afraid. They are afraid because it says right here, according to the Washington Compost, don't shoot me for the thing, it says the Demon Dana is conferring with election law experts on whether officials may have violated any state laws prohibiting them from engaging in bribery, perjury, or conspiracy. Bribery, perjury, or conspiracy for meeting with the president. It is the same weaponization of the criminal code for political purposes that we've seen the last 4 years against Trump. Notably, the focus is on the same discredited interpretation used against Trump and notably not adopted by the impeachment-eager House Judiciary Committee bribery. So again, this is her trying to shut somebody up. Remember, we could not say the name. I'm going to say a candy bar. You know what I'm going to say, Carmelo. We could not say that name and still can't say that name. And you can still get remitted off Twitter because of that whistleblower. But look what they did to the postal worker. 2 federal agents went into a room with that man for 4 hours, denied him legal representation, said he couldn't have a lawyer, and then made him sign a piece of paper they didn't even give him a copy of. So that whistleblower is drugged through the mud and his life is tried to ruin. But Adam Schiff's whistleblower, we can't even say his name. Yeah, so they're desperate to me at this point.
Did we fall asleep and wake up on January 20th? Because I thought that Trump is still president.
That's what he said in the debate, Joe. I'm still president until January. I mean, even if he did win, but we all know what's going on. Again, I do not think Sidney Powell would have gone on Newsmax last night and made the claims that she did as an attorney. Remember, she's attorney for General Flynn. She's no newbie. She didn't graduate last week and say the things that she did unless she's seen the evidence for it. She's not Adam Schiff. So I think that she said that it, again, like she said, it was going to be biblical, and I mean, I can't wait to see it. That's why
I'll tap into that real quick if I can learn how to share something here. Let's see, share screen. Oh hell, look out! Hopefully my pointer won't show up. Hold on here.
Just make sure you close any window that you don't want people.
I gotta open it up. Okay, here we go. Here, I'm back. Hold on. Share. I had to open up my. There we
Okay,
go.
Ted.
I'm learning. Here we go. Are we there?
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, that's what we're talking about right now, which is interesting because I'll go back into Kemp. He's actually flip-flopped after she said what she said here. She's about to bring the Kraken, and it's going to involve Kemp and the Secretary of State. Now, which is quite interesting now, what happened? In a new twist, Georgia governor urges all of the ballot envelopes, signatures to what? Look for fraud. How interesting, huh? A little bit. What a little bit of pressure will do for you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
No, I'm not much of a reader, so I thought I'd just bring that out. But it is interesting that he's now urging the state to conduct an audit comparing signatures of voter applications and mail-in ballots. Here we go, back to the mail-in ballots. It's going to circle
Said
back around
Georgia
to
was
that.
bad. She said Georgia was one of the worst.
And they're going to be the first. I'm gonna blow. I can't. This is gonna be amazing. Oh wait, biblical. Wait a minute. I got something else for you. Hold on. Just before we head out, I got one more thing for you. If I can pull it up here. Let's see. Damn, how do I get rid of you guys down here? Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Oh my God. I figured out, or I'm gonna steal it.
We
from
are
you.
releasing the Kraken. Yeah, I have figured out snip and sketch.
You're showing the same article.
Same. This goes. I'll give the credit to, and we know I snipped this from his video today. So
we're looking at the same article, Tad.
Yeah, we're still looking at the Gateway Pundit.
Oh wait, what happened? Hold on.
Is your window on another screen?
No, I think I could get it. There. Can you see it now?
No, I'm gonna listen. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna steal it from you, and then it'll reset yours. And then while you're looking for that, I'm gonna tell you about the green sludge under the city in Toronto. What is this? Can anybody tell me what that is?
Oh, they said that was just
fermented liberal tears.
You know what I mean? They're like, oh, don't worry. It's just some green coloring that was due to a non-toxic dye they administered into the sinkhole. Why would you put a non-green dye into a sink? What? I mean, I guess maybe to alert people. Maybe that's what they're saying. The sinkhole happened, and then they filled it full of. But that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. That don't make any sense to me. Are you ready? Are you ready?
No, keep going. I'm still learning. I gotta stop sharing screen, I think, though.
You are, because I stole it from you.
I know you busted. Let me learn and stop sharing screen. Hold on.
So anyway, this happened in Toronto, and where's my case tracker? This is in Bill Maher. I don't know if Bill Maher has it's like Roberts has a good bowel movement that day or something and decides to have some sanity about him. I don't know what's going on with Bill Maher, but he actually pushed back on some people that he had on his show. That he had on a guest that was blaming POTUS for the 254,000 COVID deaths, and he said it wasn't just Trump that led to those deaths. Well, what do you mean it wasn't Trump at all? He was the one that was lambasted for shutting down the travel from China while Pelosi's out there in Chinatown telling everybody to go hang out and visit. We have memories, folks. We're not forgetting what was said.
My comment on Bill Maher, because I've noticed this about his behavior, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before I say something about Bill Maher that's not negative, I will say he's an evil man. Okay, he's an evil guy. Look up the red shoes. He's part of that whole thing.
Yeah.
But what I have noticed is that he can kind of be that frustrated voice of reason on the left, where he just bemoans how they've acted because he knows that everything that they have done, they've basically shot themselves in the foot and destroyed any ounce of credibility they have left. And he's frustrated about it. He doesn't like seeing his political affiliation going completely insane and wacko because he knows that it turns people off to the left. And I've noticed that consistently from him. he's frustrated with his side. I don't think he'll ever leave it though, because of what he's involved in and the blackmail that he's got on over his head. So
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's so tied in with the people that are involved with some of the sicker side of things. But I do agree. Like he's had on Shapiro, he's had on, was it Jordan Peterson that went back and forth with Ben Affleck that time? I mean, so he's had people on that will kind of go back and forth, and he it seems like I said, it depends on whether or not he's had a good bowel movement, like Roberts, the SCOTUS. But it's like one day he acts like he's a rational thinker. It's like he wants to be a libertarian, right? But then it's like, I don't know if his executive producers come and be like, oh no, you can't even remotely say something positive about this president.
Remember that time on Epstein Island, Bill?
Exactly. I don't know. It's strange, though. It's like from one day to the next, who knows about this guy? Oh, Lord. Okay, we're seeing Wonder Woman, Tad.
I thought that was Sidney Powell for a second.
It is.
Oh, good Lord, have mercy.
Amazing.
What?
Did you see they did that to Amazing Polly too, the memers? They put her on Games of Thrones. I think the dragon woman. I can't think of her name.
Oh, the Khaleesi.
Yeah, they put her face on her. And
that was Ann we know. I clipped that from his show today, which was pretty good.
Oh yeah, memes the way to get a message out, for sure, for sure. Well, the only last thing I have is Black Lives Matter founder. Oh, did you see now that the Black Lives Matter, they're making demands of Biden?
Oh yeah.
Demand Joe Biden support a roadmap to the abolition of the police and the prisons. So here we go. They're like, okay, we voted, or we did our whole protest and burning down and beating people up. It's time to do what we wanted. Even though I guarantee you most of these people probably didn't even vote. And if they, unless it was their 1900 votes, people that were born in 1900. So now they're making their demands, along with AOC, who I know y'all saw the reports where she is saying that she expects Joe Biden to keep up with the Green New Deal.
did you see that they added a George Floyd exhibition to the Holocaust Museum?
What?
That's a
Pull it
freaking
up.
travesty. You should be taken down immediately.
Did you hear it though? Did you guys know?
Oh, yeah.
Let me find it. I better prove it.
Yeah,
Well,
I'll bring out the sauce, but I did hear that. Yeah.
That's not.
What do you think, hey, Lars, on that
disgusting.
on the BLM thing? It's interesting how, if you think about it, it ties into, if you go back to Obama and his original goal, which he wants to build a civilian army larger or is more powerful than the federal government's military. So aren't we transitioning to that with he wanted to do that and they didn't think Hillary would lose, but now they think Biden's in there and they're just going to kick back where they left off and create this BLM, army, brown shirts, abolish the cops and defund the police so we can grow.
Yeah, it'll never happen though. I mean, some states, corrupt states and mayors possibly, but in like where I live, they'll never get rid of the cops here. I mean, it just ain't never going to happen. So in the United States of America, we're 50 states. Each other state makes their own laws. It's the same thing with the abortion laws. The same thing going to be with the police officers. There are parts of this country that are going to be like, you are stupefied if you think we're getting rid of our popos. It ain't happening. Now, you can do it in Chicago where go ahead.
Just
Pixels threw his hand up. Hang on.
Getting rid of the police. Like, these people are stupid. Do they understand what's going to happen to them if they get rid of the police? Yeah. The good, law-abiding citizens of this country who are armed are going to take the law into their own hands. They're signing their own death warrant, for God's sake. These people are so stupid, man. So dumb.
And these 20-year-olds have been watching playing Call of Duty way too long. It's not a video game. It's not a video game.
Thanks for the governor of Florida. Shoot to kill.
Oh, looting, Lord, don't say that.
Looting Oh, I'm sorry. Looting, rioting, all that. Hey, take them down. Well, how do you stop that? I mean, how do you stop other than do public, neckties?
I don't know, but we do not promote violence. Just want to say
Yeah.
that.
No, we just want to make sure the necktie fits very well.
Tad, I'm gonna kick you out the Zoom room. First time I ever come on here, you're gonna get me kicked off YouTube. But the last two sentences you just said.
Here's the thing. We do not condone violence, but we certainly condone people lawfully defending themselves from criminals.
Perfect way of saying it.
If you want a good investment opportunity, I'd suggest Acme Rope.
see, that's a better way of saying it. See how it's wiggled in there like
Don't
that.
forget lumber. Don't forget lumber.
I agree.
Too.
I'll be honest with you. If Dave wants to start the investment, we'll start growing hemp.
Right. Can I just say this as well? I do say what you just said, Tad, but I also initiate a phrase that is very important, and it's called by due process, and no one can argue with that, right? By due process literally means that, via a trial, via a guilty verdict, via your appeal, and at the end of that process,
Hemp scarves.
Yeah.
Winter 2021 or 2020.
Hemp scarves. I love it.
There, Thumper Rose, thank you. Thumper Rose said we promote justice. Thank you. See, that's a perfect way of putting it. There we go. We promote justice. And everybody understands exactly what that means. But yeah, it's
So we got time to knock out some notables off the boards this afternoon.
We got 19 minutes for the top of the hour, which is how we usually round it out. Then Daddy
I'll get it done in
usually has
18
something
then.
to say. Well, and then somebody else might have something. We're not on time schedule. Go for it.
So prior to showtime today, here's what the Anons are digging on. Today is the anniversary of JFK's killing because he loved America. So for those keeping track of historical dates, today was the day. Tarrant County, Texas goes blue right after hiring Smartmatic executive. What a coincidence. FYI, at Sidney Powell 1's Wikipedia page has been edited 500 times in the last 4 days. Gee, wonder why. South Dakota and New Mexico offer a snapshot of the alternate realities in the U.S. pandemic. And I think we covered that a little bit via Sunny Day's article, what they're trying to do down there. Jeff Dean invented gems for GES, was sold to Diebold Premier Dominion. So obviously he's still digging on all of the voting machine stuff there. At Code Monkey Z mentions the Colorado Secretary of State is deleting Dominion documents from the official Colorado Secretary of State website. Highly illegal, by the way. Those are public documents. You do not have authority to do that. And so obviously our Anons probably did a good job of archiving all that, just because nothing ever really disappears on the net. Dominion used a Serbian outpost in order to evade accountability. Dominion's Serbian dig, and of course, just in recent days, as all the LinkedIn accounts from Dominion and that were scrubbed, suddenly everybody is now in Serbia. Senator Lindsey Graham's curious questions to Judge Kavanaugh on military tribunals for U.S. citizens. Perhaps that may be coming back. I don't know. James Hoover, co-founder of Dominion, obviously doing some digging still on Dominion and the various folks who run said shop. If you want to vandalize a Trump vote, Coomer could mess with OCR process for individual letters. Optical readouts, character readouts. That's what OCR is. I have discovered something curious about the 2020 Georgia votes that I haven't seen anyone talk about. All right, so if you need to find that out, you can head out to the boards to check that out, whatever that may be. It says here are only 3 current Trump legal team lawsuits, and that's exactly right. You heard Sidney Powell, Giuliani talk about this the other day. The media was trying to trap them and bait them and say, look, you guys are losing here and there and everywhere around the country. What are you guys doing? And he's like, guys, we've only got 3 lawsuits in that out there right now. More coming, yes, but this is weeding through the 300 plus that occurred before Election Day, not ours. Anyway, media trying to get him in a gotcha moment, as usual. Interactive mapping every booth's votes from the 2017 general election, New Zealand. Not sure what's going on there, but presumably along the same lines of Dominion and how massive a conspiracy this actually is and how widespread it is. Has anyone ever did a deep dig on Dana Perino? Not sure where they're headed there. Scott Baio tells Mitt Romney he may move to Utah and replace him in Senate. Well, Scott Baio gave me pink eye. How many California counties use glitchy Dominion voting systems?
Did it say that? Did it say
What?
Scott Bell gave me pink eye?
For those who probably follow South Park, they may get the reference.
Oh, I was like, what the heck? Man, Notable's having fun. Okay, go ahead.
If you follow South Park and Eric Cartman, I think that might have been something he said once upon a time.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
The great philosopher Eric Cartman. How many California counties use glitchy Dominion voting systems? That is a very good question. I think many of us probably think that many of the counties probably have been stolen as well out there, probably more red than blue. Wisconsin, this corroborates the testimony of 4 witnesses that 100,000 phony Biden ballots were brought in at 4:30 a.m. and counted without any inspection. Of course. Lie, cheat, and steal. That's the only way that they can win. DeKalb elections manager blamed for 95 previously omitted ballots. All right, so shenanigans continue. Trump lawyers, Pennsylvania lawsuit dismissal moves us closer to Supreme Court. So that's still ongoing. A plan to steal an election. Let's see. POTUS is tweeting vid cuts that were originally provided by Team Trump. All right. Protest at Gavin Newsom's house tonight, breaking 10 p.m. curfew. Good. Smartmatic Chief Information Security Officer doing some digs on that. Huma just popped up on Twitter. That's interesting. And Sequoia Voting Systems acquired by Smartmatic. So yes, one big happy family. Sequoia, Smartmatic, Dominion, all one big circle jerk. There you have it. What's going on the boards this afternoon prior to showtime.
Very good.
And I have to say, Pixels does an awesome freaking impression of Cartman. Go ahead, Pixels.
Well, thanks. Okay. I've got a video here. That's a lot of you have probably already heard, but I want to play it for those who haven't. Listen to Lynn Wood here. I'm starting to really, really love this guy, and listen closely to what he's saying because he's making references. Listen to this. Here comes from the Dirty Truth. Also, he recently had some medical issues going on, some operations and stuff. I'm sure he's doing well, but pray for Josh, aka Real Dirty, the Dirty Truth. He's a great guy, and he does a lot of great work in this movement. But let's go ahead, let's listen to this video, and let me just make sure I'm sharing sound. Okay, yeah, check this out, guys.
I think there's a lot of things going on right now that people are not going to recognize without the use of discernment. So they'll understand more than what just they see at first glance. So the Supreme Court's being aligned. The Department of Defense was recently realigned by the president. Take a look at who he put in place: cyber terrorism and a terrorism expert. As I said, look at what he did in 2018 with the executive order to deal with foreign interference in our national elections. I think that, listen, in a perfect world, I'd like to see John Durham's report come out and people go to jail. I'd like to see the truth told about Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and I'd like for a lot of people to go to jail.
Yes.
I'd like to see what's on Hunter Biden's laptop. I'd like to see those people go to jail.
Yes.
I'd like to see what's on Anthony Weiner's laptop. I'd like to see a lot of people go to jail. And then when we get to the final phase of the election fraud, I'd like to see a lot more people go to jail. The one thing I will say, there'll be an intermingling. There'll be people going to jail, I believe, who are involved in all of those or some of those same investigations. So there is potentially a great awakening. The truth has to come out.
Yes.
I believe it will. I do not think that you can hide the truth. I do say it, and I believe it. Every lie will be revealed. This country is going to be shocked when it learns the truth about who's been occupying the Oval Office for some periods of years. They're going to be shocked at the level of pedophilia. They're going to be shocked at what I believe will be a revelation in terms of people who actually engage in satanic worship.
Nice one, Pixels.
I love the guy.
Yeah, there you go. That's good. And I miss my daddy dragons. Bye. He's in chat. It's still not the same, but I just he had to dip out, make some phone calls. But yeah, that says it all. And I think that's the part of it that we've talked about a few times. The part that I get into is that people think these people are bad. They have no idea. There's some really, really bad people in some really high places, and they're pretty sick in the head.
It gives you a good definition as well as because you keep hearing it, which they're repeating now. It's going to be biblical.
Do you still have that link, Tad? Pixels, by any chance? Because somebody in YouTube. Thank you.
Again, I really like the scenes we're in are so different. This part of the movie is interesting, how it's making all these references.
Mm-hmm.
And they're coming from all the big players too, on the good side, all the references. So I think they're just trying to remind us everything's fine. Don't freak out.
Mm-hmm. That's why I keep reminding everybody the media does not tell us who the president is. Adam Schiff does not tell us who the president is. Nancy Pelosi is not telling us who the president is. The American people do. And we all saw what happened during this election. We knew it before it even started. I mean, we watched it happen. You know how many more videos you need to see people digging through a dumpster and finding ballots, or flipping over a rock and finding ballots? I don't know how many articles breaking has freaking dropped about what's all that's gone on these last couple of weeks from all the conversations and the journalists that have covered some of this stuff. And then we see what happens to the people that try to come out and expose it. They try to drag them through the mud. Just like they did Nate Kane whenever he came out as a whistleblower trying to expose the stuff. Had federal agents show up and drag him to the mud. So there's a lot more work to do. Just because POTUS has been in office for almost 4 years does not mean the swamp has been drained. Does not mean there's still not corrupt federal agents, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it took them 300 years to do this. It's going to take a minute to get it fixed. And we got to help. He can't do it alone. When he's up against even rhinos, people in there, and oh well, if it's good to support him because I win the election, then yay, go Trump. But the minute they think Biden's going to win, then I've always been on your side. I mean, give me a break. Have some freaking, be brave. Have a spine. I said this the other day. And I'll say it again. Do not tell me how you're going to stand up for your country if you can't even stand up for your friends. You know what I mean? Freaking have a backbone about you. And I think everybody he's surrounded by, I think that's why he surrounded himself with his family so much, man. I mean, because, your family loves you. You feel like you can trust his family, at least, because there ain't many other people he can.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like freaking Fauci. Are you kidding me? I couldn't believe when they brought in Fauci, that screamed to me, somebody got in his ear and said, okay, here's our best people. He doesn't know anything about healthcare. I think he would admit that. So he's going to rely on these people to say, all right, bring in the best. And look who they brought in. Not the, oh no, sellouts.
I still love me a good K-Mac smackdown. Kayleigh McEnany, when she left that last briefing and said, I don't call on activists, to Caitlin Collins. That was so awesome. Oh, she's
that is the truth.
Perfect person for the job.
But that's what a lot of the media has become. That's why people like us have popped up out of nowhere, just average, everyday citizens, because we've seen what the news has done. I mean, we're doing a better job than they are, and we don't have millions of dollars of a budget in studios. I'm talking on a laptop mic right now. These people have producers, editors. And yet they still can't get to the truth because they don't care about the truth. They care about trying to sell you a bill of goods and hope you'll buy it. And when you don't, then Breaking will step in and tell you about how they're ripping away your rights. You know what I mean?
Chat has alerted me to something kind of interesting, and I don't understand what the hell is going on here, because she's been involved in all the press conferences and so on and so forth. Statement from today, this is from Jenna Ellis, saying Trump campaign statement on legal team. Sidney Powell is practicing law on her own. She is not a member of the Trump legal team. She is also not a lawyer for the president in his personal capacity. This comes from Rudy Giuliani and Jenna Ellis. What the hell is this?
Something to probably give spin and talking stuff for the Mockingbird media to chew on while the real work happens behind the scenes.
Yeah, the hook is already in the jaw. They're just letting the string go out, thinking they're getting away with the food.
Maybe it has this kind of you can compare kind of what Steve Bannon said when he left the administration. He thinks he could do a better job on the outside than on the inside. You know, and look what Steve Bannon's done in the war room. Maybe they're trying to distance themselves from her so that they don't look like they're influencing what she's doing, that she's doing this for the people. You know, and then they're bringing their litigations to court or their cases to court on behalf of, you know, the administration of you know, the White House. And she's doing it as, you know, something different. I don't
Really
know.
optics.
That's a good question.
That's a
Really
fast
optics.
split, though. Yeah, optics got to be fast split. I'm sure like 2 days ago, or she stand up there as the main lead lawyer for the Trump team, and now they're turning around saying, "Oh no, she's on her own." So yeah, something has to be optics, I believe, as well.
Something's wrong with
Go
that.
ahead, Cece. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't. That's a good one though. I hate that we just got that on the fly because I mean, yeah, that's what
just
BJ
posted half hour ago.
Simphala said optics as well. So special prosecutor for an independent POTUS. Oh, that's what Markle sent to you. Special prosecutor for an independent POTUS. Takes the pressure off Sydney, reduces threats. That's another good answer. Sydney said she's working for the American people. She made it very clear that she was not being paid by the campaign. Maybe that's what it is right there, probably too. That Intent Ash said that she made it very clear she's not being paid by the campaign, so they can't tie it back, and you know, she's doing it independently. And then it says, Eyes of Texas says this leaves her able to take on position as FBI director. I don't know, but maybe.
Well, I mean, it's also could be, think about it, if this even makes sense. I just kind of thought about that. But what if all this shenanigans going on, which is probably part of the plan, is just to keep them on the heels of victory? What they think is victory, but they're on the heels of it. And we're just slowly getting them leaning more and more back on that hill. And then eventually we're going to push them off.
So this guy on Twitter, Brian the Great, is saying, I'm seeing that at Sidney Powell 1 has never said she's an official member of the Trump legal team. She can't be because she's representing at Jen Flynn an ongoing litigation in Judge Sullivan's court over his refusal to rule on dismissing the case. So my question is, how could Sidney Powell be working with the Trump legal team and not be a part of the Trump legal team? Because it's very obvious she is working with them. Real quick, before we go ahead and carry this discussion on, John Asturias out there in the YouTube chat says, I can't read your message on Twitter.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna read.
But I will say you're spot on. I agree with you. If these people were dealing with the founding fathers, this all would have been over a long time ago.
This is how I would read it. John Asturas, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, you know what provides good optics? Investing in rope, just like Lincoln did.
Yes.
That's exactly how I'd say that.
Get your hemp stocks, everybody. Hemp stocks here.
Hemp stocks. Get them while you can.
The time that's the reason why we have our mods put our DLive and Twitch links out there. Please subscribe to those if you're not. Sometimes we do have to take our coverage over to those 2 platforms because the one that we're on, just ask DD how that's went for him in this last couple days. So there's a reason why. And we like being here. I know it's easier for you guys in the UK, that the YouTube stream's easier. I get it. And but there are times when we do have to go over there for that very reason. Listen, there's a celebrity's name you can't even mention on air before you'll get the video removed right now because she's in litigation with another A actor. What do they call him? A class A actor, whatever. Yeah, I'm telling you, they're cracking down. It's not good, and it costs a lot of money to build a platform like YouTube. It does, but at some point, I hope someone does it because it needs to be done. And I think Torres looking good. I think Breaking would probably say that. Tiger Network seems to be a pretty good place. A little bit more work. I like D Live. It's pretty cool. I love the gifts and Twitch. If you don't like all the visuals, Twitch has got a pretty good chat room. But even then, those two, how long is that going to last? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's
Love you all here on Thanks, Stefan. And so go ahead.
It's expensive to try and go after somebody that's, moved themselves into a powerhouse like YouTube has, where you've got the ability to upload, you've got the ability to stream, you can do all sorts of funky stuff, et cetera, et cetera. And so, again, the thing that I always go back to is in 2016, when we were through this very same scenario and we had some canaries in the coal mine with people like Alex Jones and Mike Adams at InfoWars and Natural News, both being censored heavily at that time. Mike Adams took it upon himself to build a platform on a very, very frugal shoestring budget of $1 million.
Yeah, I know. Just like BJ said, Twitch is Amazon, Bezos, which is
it is, yes,
exactly.
But he started that platform with a vision that he could try and get by on as little as possible, and by far and large he has. You can head over to brighteon.com, and I just come across an email from the platform last night because I was one of the early adopters at that time to get in on it. You actually had to petition to even get in at that time back in 2016, and basically they're in a position now where there is so much demand on their system that their uploads are literally taking about 4 hours to transcode. So one of the things that you guys can do, if you like the platforms, support them, make donations, whatever. They may have to go on public campaigns before long to help rival the likes of YouTube's. Utah Gun Exchange is another good one, and that where you can find all of my work, for example. Everything that I've done across most of these channels is archived there for a reason. They too are seeing a huge, huge uptick in folks visiting those sites for the very same reasons. As you alluded to, Tiger Network, the one that Jim Watkins and company have built over there. One of the few outlets where you can actually stream to, aside from the ones that we're on. It's something that needs to happen. There has to be decentralization, and we're not going to build another YouTube and then a few years down the road it gets bought up by some big fish and another big fish comes along, it gobbles it up, and then we're right back doing the same stinking thing we did before. It's going to be fragmented, and it has to be fragmented for a while. But do support all the other folks now who go out there and champion building similar platforms. Gab isn't too far off. They should be having live streaming capabilities here before long, where a lot of us content creators on that platform will likely have to up our game and become pro accounts and that for those that aren't. But you guys will still be able to view the content as well. So a lot of good things happening. All is not lost. Silicon Valley does not control us. The Mockingbird media does not control us at the end of the day. And of course, we're going to see as this reset gets closer or whatever, the COVID BS in the blue states and whatnot, they're going to see a little bit of resistance, and rightfully so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
You know what I would like to see is a video hosting platform that takes advantage of peer-to-peer technology instead of a centralized upload server to serve the videos. What that is basically while let's say you're on this platform, while you're watching a video, it caches the video as it buffers, and you actually upload it to other people who want to watch it. That way, it's not the team that owns that and runs that platform doesn't have to rely on their bandwidth and their servers to upload those videos and get them out to people. It's all the users in unison uploading it and sharing it with each other through their internet connections. It's
technically, it already exists.
Does it?
Mostly on the dark web.
Oh yeah.
If you've ever been out there, had the pleasure of venturing out there to find stuff periodically, BitLord is one I think folks use for that very purpose. But not one single person has what you're looking for. It gets bounced around from address to address, that sort of thing. Just kind of along the lines of what you're describing.
And it's very powerful as a deplatforming or anti-deplatforming tool, because then the hackers literally have to take down every single person who's uploading that video. It can't be done.
It's just like whack-a-mole. When one goes down, another 3 pop up.
Yeah, and that's what Pixels you're talking about. That's what the whole point is: the freedom of individuality and sharing information. So what they want to do is funnel it into a specific server where they control that information going out to other individuals. They don't want that. So that's why Breaking says in the dark web right now. And it's free, by the way, too, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Go ahead, Soko. You were going to say something, Soko, and we branched.
Oh, no, I was good. I don't even remember. I was kind of reading chat and all that other stuff. I was just no, I'm good. I will, whenever y'all are ready, I will wrap it up. But y'all do cover what y'all want to cover before we do, by all means.
Well,
I'm ready to go.
We are at 5 after 5 p.m.
Yeah,
Bye,
I know. I don't feel. I feel weird because Daddy's not here to say my freaking. So when y'all gonna have to do it? And so wrap it up. Say thank you for everybody for being here this Sunday. As always, thanks for joining us. Sunday's our day when we kind of let our hair down a little bit and catch up on the weekly news. It gives us a chance to sit around as a group and kind of hang out with each other. We love our Sundays. We love the fact that you join us for them. So. Thanks for all the support out there. And again, remember on DLive and Twitch, just even if you can subscribe over there, YouTube's finicky. That's all I'm going to say. And with that, I will let you guys say farewell. I don't know what I'm going to do. Y'all tell me how to take us out. I'm so used to Daddy.
Oh, I love that movie. I love the end of that movie when Adam Sandler's character buys everyone in the town a Corvette and he just crashes it like the first 5 seconds he drives it. Fantastic movie. Mr. Deeds. Anybody who hasn't seen Mr. Deeds, go watch that stuff. It's hilarious. I want to end out by requesting some prayers, okay? Because starting tonight, I have a work week from hell starting. 2 work weeks from hell in a row actually starting. It's gonna suck. So I would appreciate any prayers just to keep me going throughout this tough 2 weeks that I'm about to head into.
There you go, Breaking. He's my on-the-fly prayer guy.
How did I get recruited?
Because you're my on-the-fly prayer guy. Are you the only person I know that can whip a really good prayer out just like at a moment's notice? I can't do it. I'm sure there's other people that can do it. I can't do it, though. But you're really good at it.
So they say.
It's like breaking out in a freestyle rap.
He can.
Yeah,
I mean, he just can. He can just pull one out. We'll
Bust
end
a
on
prayer,
that.
Breck. Go for it. Bust a prayer.
Bust a prayer. All right. All right. Well, let's go to the Father here in prayer to close us out here this evening. Father, I just thank you for this day that you have made. Let us find joy on this day. Let us choose joy despite all the things that are going on here, Father. And I just thank you for the fact that we get to be the ones to bear the light in this particular time of darkness, that all the things are being exposed at a time such as this, that we get to partake in this together and share the information despite all of the censorship and headwinds and that we have here in front of us, Lord. And I just thank you for who you are, that you move in a mighty way in each of our lives. I thank you for the strength in that you provide. Father, I just ask that you bless and guide Seasoned Pixels this week and his work and his deeds, his tweets. Be active in his life, guide him in his path. And Father, I just, again, thank you for who you are. I give you all the praise, all the worship, all the glory on this day. And Father, until we meet again, I thank you for all these things through Christ, our Lord and only Savior, Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen.
Amen. See what I
Amen.
mean?
Thank you,
I
Breaking.
can't do that. I can't do that.
Very nice, Breaking. Thank you.
There you go, Mr. Pixels.
Thank you very much. Feel better already.
Okay. It does
And
help.
and by the way, I am looking for a new job because I'm sick and damn tired of being on night shift, and I'm sick and damn tired of not knowing what my schedule is going to be like.
Well, he lives in Michigan, folks. You know anybody that needs a good young fella in Michigan? Hit him up. And with that, we will end our Sunday. I don't know. Pixels, he calls you Little Dragon. Yeah. Who did it?
I was Breaking.
Oh, do it again, Breaking.
I'm only good for one bye.
Oh, come on. Okay. Well, John, thank you again. I'll be praying that anything actually starts happening. Well, you know what? We'll see what happens Wednesday if they drop that lawsuit. So we'll keep you informed for sure. And with that, do it one more. Do it again.
Bye. I'm shaking my hands behind the scenes.